What the hell do you know about being a bastard?
All dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes.
Tywin Lannister has always hated his son Tyrion and thought of him as a bastard. Tyrion thinks it's because of his dwarfism and because his mother died in childbirth. But what if he actually is a bastard? In this video I'm going to explain why I think that Tyrion is the illegitimate son of none other than Aerys Targaryen, also known as the Mad King, which would make him Daenerys' brother and Jon Snow's uncle. In the case of Jon Snow's parentage, there was so much foreshadowing both in the books and the show that we practically accepted the R+L=J theory as truth even before it was finally confirmed in Season 6. In Tyrion's case though, it's nowhere near as obvious, mainly due to the fact that we don't know that much about his mother, Lady Joanna Lannister, who died while giving birth to him. There's little information about her in George R.R. Martin's books and even less on the show, at least compared to the information about Jon Snow's parents. There's also the fact that Joanna Lannister is not associated with anything as dramatic as starting a civil war, unlike Lyanna Stark. However, once in a while we do get some bits and pieces about Joanna which are interesting by themselves, but once you put them together, they seem to form a pretty surprising picture. In addition to that, we received lots of new info on Tyrion's mom in 2014, when The Word of Ice and Fire came out. It's an official companion book for J.R.R.'s Song of Ice and Fire series, and it sheds more light on characters and events which do not get proper coverage in other books or the TV show, for example the Targaryen Kings, History of the Great Houses, etc. The book is written by Elio Garcia and Linda Antonson in consultation with George R.R. Martin, and while J.R.R. is not the de facto author, he did take active part in the process and everything is official canon. Now let's get to the known facts about Tyrion's mom and Lord Tywin's only wife, Lady Joanna Lannister. Joanna was a Lannister not only by marriage but also by birth. In fact, she was Tywin's first cousin, the eldest daughter of Jason Lannister, who was the brother of Tywin's father, Lord Tytus. In 259 AC, Joanna went to King's Landing for the coronation of King Jaehaerys Targaryen, the second of his name, and would remain as a lady-in-waiting for the future queen, Princess Rhaella Targaryen. There were rumors that Joanna gave her maidenhead to Prince Aerys, who would eventually become the Mad King on the night of Jaehaerys' coronation, and briefly became Aerys' paramour after he ascended the Iron Throne himself 3 years later. Aerys called Tywin Lannister to King's Landing to serve as Hand of the King, and in 263 Tywin married his cousin Joanna at the Great Sept of Baelor. At the wedding feast, Aerys drunkenly joked about how it was a pity that the first night tradition was banned. This would have given him the right to sleep with the bride on the night of the wedding. He did take certain liberties with Joanna at the wedding ritual and demanded the feast had to disrobe the bride. The Mad King had a lot of women before and during his marriage, but Joanna was special to him. Here's an excerpt from a conversation where Daenerys asks Sir Barristan about her father, the Mad King. "And my father? Was there some woman he loved better than his queen?" Not loved. Mayhaps wanted is a better word, but it was only kitchen gossip, the whispers of washerwomen and stable boys. As a youth he was taken with a certain lady of Casterly Rock, a cousin of Tywin Lannister. When she and Tywin wed, your father drank too much wine at the wedding feast and was heard to say that it was a great pity that the lord's right to the first night had been abolished. A drunken jape, no more, but Tywin Lannister was not a man to forget such words or the liberties your father took during the wedding. Queen Rhaella was aware of her husband's infidelities, and while she turned a blind eye to most of them, she took particular offense when he would sleep with one of her own ladies. When this would happen, the queen would send the lady away. Not long after the wedding, Rhaella abruptly dismissed Joanna from her service without explanation. She departed at once for Casterly Rock and seldom visited King's Landing afterwards. When Aerys learned the news that she'd given birth to twins, he said that apparently he married the wrong woman. He commanded Tywin to bring them to court, but when Tywin's father, Lord Tytus, died, he returned to the Westerlands and the king decided to accompany him while the queen remained in King's Landing. Aerys remained in Casterly Rock for a whole year. By the time the court returned to the capital, it was plain to see that the friendship between Aerys and Tywin was fraying. And when Aerys realized that people think that Tywin is the true ruler, he decided to put him back into his place. In 272 AC, Joanna attended the anniversary tourney in King's Landing, held to celebrate the Mad King's 10th year on the throne. There, King Aerys asked her if nursing her children, Cersei and Jaime, had ruined her breasts. Tywin, who was also present, had endured similar comments before and even the liberties the Mad King took during the bedding ceremony. Initially, he didn't do anything. His resignation was submitted on the next day, prompting people to think that the reason was the breast comment from the previous night. In any case, King Aerys did not allow Tywin to resign. In the following year, 273 AC, Tyrion was born. Unfortunately, we don't know the exact dates for either his birthday or when the tourney was held, so I can't tell you for sure if they were 9 months apart. So these are all the facts, and with the exception of the Sir Barristan quote, which was taken from A Dance of Dragons chapter 43, Daenerys, everything else was taken from 2 chapters of The Word of Ice and Fire, the chapter about King Aerys and the one about the Westerlands. Bottom line is, we know that there was some real history between Tyrion's mom and the Mad King. We know that Tyrion was born the year after she had an encounter with Aerys that was serious enough to force Tywin to submit his resignation. Now that we have the facts, I'm going to fill in the blanks with some speculation, and you can decide for yourself if it makes sense or not. King Aerys was a womanizer for most of his life. Also, he wasn't mad from the start. While he was completely insane in his last years, in his youth he was actually popular and loved, and nobody predicted how he would turn out later. And I'm not even speculating here, this is all written in the chapter about him. He met Joanna Lannister when they were both teenagers and single. He never loved her, but he wanted her more than he would ever want a woman. Joanna was flattered because he was the crown prince, did not yet show any signs of madness, and was actually handsome and charming at that point. The rumors that he took her virginity may well be true, but even if they aren't, there was definitely something between them. They slept together at least once after her wedding. When Queen Rhaella found out, she sent Joanna away. This wasn't the first time Aerys was unfaithful and wouldn't be the last, and the Queen had no interest in bringing more attention to her shame, so she didn't publicly say why she was dismissing Joanna. Aerys missed Joanna, and when Tywin returned to Casterly Rock, he went with him, leaving the Queen in the capital. While in Casterly Rock, the King made advances on Joanna, but Tywin wouldn't have it. This alienated the two of them, who used to be friends until that point. When they returned to King's Landing, the Mad King wanted to humiliate Tywin. When Aerys saw Joanna again at the anniversary tourney, his old passion for her was reignited. Commenting on her breasts wasn't all he did. That night he wanted to sleep with her again and wouldn't take no for an answer. Lord Tywin found out, and that was the real reason he submitted his resignation in the morning. When Tyrion was born, Tywin knew, or at least strongly suspected, that Aerys was the father, but didn't say a word because this would bring shame to the Lannister name. Tyrion still looked like a Lannister because his mother was a Lannister, even if his father was not. And this could be the real reason why George Martin decided that Tywin would marry his cousin. Because while incest is perfectly common for the Targaryens, it's still a big taboo for the rest of Westeros. And while Jaime and Cersei are notable exceptions, Lord Tywin always cared a lot about reputation. For a while I thought that there was a puzzle piece missing. In the case of R+L=J, there is a very obvious character that would know the truth and is waiting for the most dramatic moment possible to reveal it. How won't read. In the case of A+J=T, there is no such obvious character. Or so I thought until I read the following exchange between Varys and Tyrion in A Clash of Kings chapter 49, Tyrion. This is long before Tyrion kills his father. Varys remarks, "Did honor die with our fathers?" "My father is not dead yet," replies Tyrion. Or is he? I mean, come on, when have you ever seen Varys make a mistake like this? The guy knows everything. Here is another quote from Tywin Lannister from Season 3, Episode 1.
"Men's laws give you the right to bear my name and display my colours, since I cannot prove that you are not mine. And to teach me humility, the gods have condemned me to watch you waddle about, wearing that proud lion that was my father's sigil and his father's before him."
The quote is also in A Storm of Swords chapter 4, Tyrion, exactly the same word for word. If the theory is right, it would also make sense if the dragon has 3 heads quote. 3 dragons and 3 Targaryen children to ride them, Daenerys, Jon and Tyrion, who also just so happen to be the 3 main characters. So do you think that there's room for one more parentage revelation? Let me know in the comments below. Praetor signing off.
You're no son of mine.